Imagine turning 18, packing up your childhood bedroom, and finally moving out. You know, you're so ready to start your adult life.
Oh, the freedom.
Right. So you log into your bank account fully expecting to see the fruits of like a decade spent working in front of a camera, doing brand deals, sacrificing your entire childhood privacy to millions of viewers.
You'd expect a massive nest egg.
Exactly. But instead, you find $200.
$200. That is literally a sick joke.
And before the shock can even set in, the IRS comes knocking, like demanding taxes on hundreds of thousands of dollars in income that you never even saw.
It is absolute unadulterated chaos.
Babes, welcome back. We love you. We see you. And tonight we have tequila margaritas on deck because apparently regular hydration was never going to get us through this conversation.
Honestly, water is just not strong enough for the level of delusion we have to unpack today. Cheers to that.
Cheers. Oh my gosh, wait. Before we even get into the absolute rubble of reality TV wealth today, I have to talk about my current spiral.
Okay, lay it on me. What is it this time?
Venezuelan empanadas. I am like fully hyperfixated.
Oh my God, yes, they are dangerously good.
Literally dangerous. Like, it's the crispy outside for me. The cornmeal crust, it is so superior.
The crunch is everything, and then the perfect filling. Like, what is your go-to right now?
Okay, the shredded beef with the black beans and plantains. The papelón, I could eat an entirely unrealistic amount of them in one sitting.
I mean, one empanada is never enough. It's scientifically impossible to just eat one.
Right. I ordered 3 yesterday, and honestly, I was eyeing my roommate's plate. But, wait, I know you've been on a totally different food journey this week.
Oh, I am deep in the soup spiral. Deep.
Soup. Why does soup suddenly feel like the answer to literally every problem in my life right now?
Because it is. It's like a warm emotional support blanket in a bowl. You have a bad day, soup. You're stressed about taxes, soup.
It is the ultimate comfort.
Yeah.
What kind are you making?
I made this massive, enormous pot of like a spicy sausage and kale white bean soup. And you always do that thing where you're like, oh, I'll eat this all week.
Oh, totally. Meal prep queen.
Right. But then I eat 3 bowls in one night and I'm like, well, so much for Thursday's lunch. But honestly, is soup actually a meal or is it just a vibe?
It's a lifestyle, though my cat completely ruined my soup vibe last night.
Oh, no. What did the menace do now?
Okay, so I'm sitting there holding my bowl, just trying to have a peaceful moment. And he walks over, looks me dead in the eye, and just like aggressively swats a spoon right off the table.
Unprovoked. They're so unprovoked.
Completely. And then he screams at me like he wants attention. But the second I go to pet him, he ducks away and acts incredibly offended that I would even try to touch him.
Cats literally behave like they pay the mortgage. It is wild. They have so much audacity for an animal that doesn't contribute financially to the household.
Oh my God. Speaking of audacity and not contributing financially, we have to talk about these reality stars. Because the transition from cats thinking they own the house to reality stars literally losing their houses is too perfect.
It's the perfect pivot. The gossip we have trending today over in reality TV land is just, it's heavy.
It is so messy. So today, our entire mission is looking at the off-camera underbelly of this lifestyle. We are tearing down the facade.
Because the structural collapse of that facade is happening in real time right now.
Yeah, we have court dockets, exclusive interviews, social media clashes. We are unpacking how financial ruin, legal battles, and fractured families are bleeding into the real world.
For years, right, the appeal of these shows was this illusion of impenetrable wealth. But what we're witnessing is the inevitable result of an unsustainable business model just colliding with reality.
So let's start with the kids, because this is where I get genuinely emotional. We have to talk about Kim Zolciak, Kroy Bierman, and their daughter Ariana.
The next-gen NYC after-show revelations.
Yes. Ariana just went on there and dropped an absolute bombshell. She revealed that her parents spent all of her teenage earnings.
And we are not talking about, like, babysitting money here.
No. We're talking about brand deals, sponsored social media posts, contractual TV appearances on a major network for years.
Right. And she said when she finally moved out with her boyfriend, Hudson, she had roughly $200 to her name.
$200 after a decade on television. And here's the sickest part. The IRS didn't care that Kim and Kroy spent the money. Because of how these influencers are paid, Ariana was the one hit with the massive tax bill.
Let's analytically break this down for a second because it's a massive legal trap. When a teenager like Ariana gets a brand partnership, the brand issues a 1099 tax form.
Which makes her an independent contractor.
Exactly. And that 1099 is tethered directly to her Social Security number, not Kim's, Ariana's.
But because she's a minor, the money goes into an account controlled by her parents.
Right. They act as her managers. The funds go into the parent's account, and then that cash just evaporates into the family's overarching lifestyle expenses.
It pays the electric bill on the mansion.
Exactly. But then tax season hits, and the IRS looks at Ariana's Social Security number and says, hey, you generated massive 1099 income. Where is our cut?
And the government doesn't chase the parents who bought designer bags with it. They chase the 18-year-old whose name is on the form.
It is literally the financial equivalent of being drafted into debt the moment you reach adulthood.
It's sickening. Ariana even joked on the show that writing this massive check to the IRS for money she never saw was, quote, super fun.
The trauma response is real.
Totally. But Kim Zolciak went on Watch What Happens Live, and her defense was wild. She basically claimed the financial rug was pulled out from under the family and that Ariana's money just went to family bills, leaving Kim, quote, holding the bag.
Which is such a manipulative way to reframe it. The child is no longer an independent human being. The child is just another revenue stream for the family corporation.
But wait, let's play devil's advocate for a second, because Kim's unspoken argument, and the argument of almost every reality TV parent, is that they operate as a single corporate unit.
Right, the we're all in this together defense.
Yeah. Like the show and the fame that lets Ariana get those brand deals, pays for her private school, her cars, the massive house. Isn't the argument that the kid is being compensated through this artificially inflated standard of living?
That is the internal logic, yes.
Yeah.
But it completely ignores the concept of consent. A 16-year-old doesn't sign a mortgage on a mega mansion.
Exactly.
They don't choose to leverage their entire future on a Bravo contract renewal. So when they turn 18, they shouldn't inherit the financial misdeeds of their parents.
And this brings up the most infuriating legal loophole. If Ariana was on a scripted show, like on the Disney Channel, this would be completely illegal.
Yes, the Coogan Act.
Explain the Coogan Act, because people need to understand how unprotected these reality kids are.
So the Coogan Act is the stark dividing line between traditional Hollywood and reality TV. It was passed way back in 1939 after child star Jackie Coogan sued his parents for squandering his millions. It legally mandates that employers must set aside 15% of a minor's gross earnings into a blocked trust account.
The parents literally cannot touch it.
Right. And the child gets full access at 18. It's a foundational safety net.
So why are reality kids excluded? They are on TV, they generate ad revenue.
It's a complete legal sleight of hand. Reality TV classifies itself as documentary filmmaking, not scripted performance.
Ugh, that makes me so mad.
Right, the networks argue they are just capturing real life. Because the kids aren't memorizing lines or playing a character, they aren't legally classified as child actors under most labor laws. The parents are the contracted talent, and the kids are just incidental subjects.
So they're essentially freelance employees with zero union protection, and the psychological toll is just devastating. Ariana said this caused massive issues with her boyfriend Hudson because he was insecure that she was making more money than him, but she was simultaneously drowning in tax debt.
It creates such a deeply warped coming-of-age experience. You're trying to navigate normal early 20s relationship stuff, but it's magnified by influencer capital and the trauma of your parents stealing from you.
And the pressure to maintain that illusion of wealth is destroying the adults too. Look at the Real Housewives of Atlanta right now. We are watching another massive financial illusion just shatter.
Oh, Kelly Potter and Angela Oakley, the gloves are completely off.
They are off. Kelly went on X and just publicly exposed Angela over her real estate disasters. She posted screenshots allegedly proving that Angela's $2 million mansion, which she owns with Charles Oakley, was actively up for auction due to foreclosure.
The foundational premise of these shows was always aspirational wealth. But now we are seeing the weaponization of financial ruin.
Exactly. Kelly was ruthless. She tweeted, "Baby, this is your marital home, not an investment property."
And that distinction is vital. Because earlier on season 17, Angela admitted to losing $2 million in real estate investments. But she framed it as like a tough business lesson.
Right. The whole "I'm so rich I can afford to lose $2 million" defense.
Exactly. It's controlling the narrative. But Kelly pulled the rug out. She's saying this isn't a side venture. This is the roof over your head.
And then Kelly told Angela to bring everything to the forefront before discussing Kelly's finances and dropped the absolute nuke. She said Angela has a lifetime ban from FINRA.
I gasped when I read that. A lifetime ban from FINRA is not just reality TV shade.
What does that actually mean for people who don't know?
FINRA is the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. It regulates brokerage firms in the U.S. A lifetime ban means you are permanently legally prohibited from acting as a broker anywhere in the country.
It's like a lawyer being disbarred for life.
Exactly. You don't get banned for bad investment, you get banned for severe regulatory misconduct. That is life-altering.
It just shows the complete breakdown of the old housewife pact. Like 15 years ago, they had a silent agreement to project extreme wealth. You didn't pull up public records to expose a leased car.
Right, because it threatened the whole premise of the show.
Okay.
Today, public financial humiliation is the currency.
But the fans are so messy and savvy now. They flooded Kelly's comments, pointing out her own financial skeletons. They brought up a court judgment awarded to a guy named Gary L. Tolliver against Kelly, basically telling her to clean her own front porch first.
Everyone is financially bleeding out in public. The lifestyle porn model required liquid wealth that these women just didn't have. They over-leveraged themselves for glam squads and mansions, and now the bill is due.
Which leads perfectly into the next, much darker phase, because when you take people who are already financially drowning and you subject them to relentless public humiliation, the stress doesn't just go away.
It boils over.
It's a pressure cooker with a broken release valve. The performative drama on camera is morphing into actual criminal behavior off camera.
Which brings us to Melania Giudice.
The May 14th domestic violence arrest.
I'm still in shock over this. She's 20 years old. Now, the Giudice family is obviously deeply familiar with the federal justice system.
Yes, both Teresa and Joe did time for fraud. Right. But seeing the next generation face violent charges is so jarring. According to court docs, Melania was charged with a disorderly person's offense. She allegedly struck a victim, identified only as LR, in the head with her fist,
Causing visible redness and acting erratically, throwing food and candles.
And the most tragic part, law enforcement was reportedly called by her 21-year-old sister, Gabriella. Imagine a domestic dispute so volatile that your sister calls armed police into the house.
And LR is widely understood to be her stepfather, Luis Ruelas. The judge hasn't explicitly confirmed it, but the context points directly to him.
She was arraigned in July, and the judge made it clear. If found guilty, she faces up to 6 months in jail. Her lawyer, Alan Kreminski, had to request a postponement so she could do anger management. This is serious legal jeopardy.
It's not a bad edit, it's real life. But her public reaction is a fascinating sociological case study.
Oh my God, her reaction was unhinged.
Most 20-year-olds facing jail time would retreat in profound shame.
Not Melania. She hops on social media, first claiming the circulating mugshot is AI, and then she pivots to literally bragging about it.
I ate down in my mugshot.
I can't. She said, quote, "I looked fire. I mean, nothing to be proud of, but I made sure of that." And then she brushes off the violence by saying, happens in life. It is what it is.
That phrase, "I ate down in my mugshot," perfectly encapsulates the psychological warping of growing up in the Bravoverse. To her, a mugshot is content.
It's an opportunity to serve a look.
It's the ultimate gamification of the criminal justice system.
She even taunted the audience, saying just because we think we know her life, we don't. She's treating a domestic violence arrest like a teaser trailer for season 15.
But she isn't the only one using law enforcement as a prop. Look at Anne-Marie Wiley and Marcellus Wiley.
Ugh, another absolute mess. Anne-Marie called 911 on her ex-husband Marcellus, claiming he was violating a temporary restraining order at their LA home.
But the context here is crucial. She called 911 just hours after prosecutors in Florida dropped separate domestic violence charges against him due to lack of evidence.
Right. She had previously claimed he threatened her life, got the restraining order, and filed for divorce. So the cops rushed the LA house, investigate, and determine no crime was committed. Marcellus is not arrested.
What does Marcellus do? He immediately runs to TMZ.
Of course he does.
He claims he was just having a court-approved, supervised visit with the kids. But then he brags that this is Anne-Marie's third attempt to have him arrested. And he proudly declares she is her for three.
Is for three.
It's the exact same sports mentality we saw with Melania, treating domestic violence allegations and 911 calls like a box score.
The legal system is so unequipped for reality stars who use 911 calls as a PR strategy in their divorces. Which brings us to the most chaotic legal mess on our list today. Carmine Agnello, Victoria Gotti's son.
This reads like a rejected movie script. It is too unbelievable.
So in April, Carmine gets sentenced to 15 months in federal prison for a $1.1 million COVID fraud scheme. Just a straightforward white-collar crime.
Exploiting relief programs during a pandemic. Classic. But when you get a federal sentence, you get a surrender date.
And Carmine pulls a massive delay tactic. He goes to the judge and says, I desperately need my surrender date pushed back because I am scheduled to donate a kidney to my ailing mother, Victoria Gotti.
It is an incredibly calculated legal maneuver. It's a humanitarian plea. A federal judge doesn't want to be the guy who denies a son the chance to save his mother's life.
So the judge grants the delay. Carmine is out, supposedly prepping his body for organ donation. And what does he do in June? He gets arrested for allegedly assaulting his girlfriend.
The illusion of the devoted son vanishes instantly. He shows the court he's out engaging in volatile criminal behavior instead of resting for surgery.
He totally missed the deadline to give the kidney, and the judge ran out of patience. This week, he finally reported to prison in New Jersey.
You look at Melania, the Wileys, and Carmine, and you have to ask why this specific demographic escalates so quickly to police involvement.
Why do you think it is?
It's behavioral conditioning. When you are financially rewarded for reacting to conflict with maximum volatility on camera, you can't just turn that off in your personal life. Throwing a candle gets you a contract renewal on TV, but it gets you a court date in real life.
It really does. But the law isn't the only thing breaking these families up. It's the sheer weight of the cameras destroying decades-long marriages and friendships.
The relational devastation of this medium is so dark right now.
We aren't watching fights over seating arrangements anymore. We are watching Kyle Richards and Mauricio Mansky, the bedrock couple of Beverly Hills, completely dissolve.
That preview for Real Housewives' Ultimate Girls Trip is brutal.
It is. Kyle is sitting with Vicki Gunvalson, and she shares a text message from Mauricio on their 30th wedding anniversary.
30 years?
30 years. And he texts her, "Today's always such a hard day. I love you. I don't know how we got here." And Kyle just breaks down. She admits she thought they would survive anything, and she feels so much guilt for letting the audience down.
Millions of people projected their hopes for true love onto that marriage.
Exactly. But Vicky's reaction, I was screaming at my screen. Kyle is sobbing, and Vicky looks her dead in the eye and says, "You should be ashamed. You let your family down. You let your kids down. You're showing them it's okay to bail out."
It is breathtakingly cruel. But analytically, Vicky isn't actually talking to Kyle. She is deeply projecting her own unresolved trauma from her divorce with Dawn.
Yes, because she immediately pivots to talking about Dawn. Kyle tries to say she's getting better, and Vicky shuts her down and says, "No, you're not going to get better. This is what happened to Dawn and I."
Vicky warns her that in 20 years, the pain will still be there, and admits she wishes someone had physically stopped her from getting divorced.
It's such a perfect distillation of the generational gap in reality TV. Vicky is the Era 1 housewife. In the 2000s, you maintained the appearance of the perfect family at all costs. You grit your teeth and faked it.
Divorce wasn't personal evolution. It was a failure of duty to the show.
But Kyle is in the modern era. Audiences today can spot a fake marriage instantly. They demand raw truth. Kyle couldn't fake it anymore, but Vicky views that honesty as a betrayal of the institution of marriage.
And this demand for conflict destroys friendships, too.
Yeah.
Look at Kyle and Dorit Kemsley.
A rock-solid, decade-long friendship completely dead. Why? Because Dorit read a private, vulnerable text from Kyle out loud on camera just to generate a storyline.
Kyle was so disillusioned, she realized Dorit would do anything for the show.
And the tragic irony is that both women are going through highly public separations from Mauricio and PK at the exact same time. They should be each other's lifeline.
Even Kyle acknowledged that. But Dorit made a calculated decision. The viability of her role on the show was more important than her actual friend.
We see the same thing with Tamra Judge and Shannon Bador. Tamra acts so morally superior about Shannon's drinking and DUI, weaponizing her own stable marriage to make Shannon look worse.
It's comparative suffering. Vicky even told Giselle Bryant that Tamra fabricates outrage just to throw friends under the bus and secure her spot on the cast.
Which makes me ask, at what point does producing a good show inherently require you to betray your friends? Is the format just toxic to real human connection?
It heavily incentivizes betrayal. You are paid to be an emotional gladiator. The ones who survive the longest are the ones willing to sacrifice their relationships on the altar of entertainment.
You literally survive by drawing blood.
Yeah.
But now these divides are bleeding into intense, real-world political warfare.
This is the most significant cultural shift in the reality landscape right now.
Okay, guys, quick time out, just a disclaimer before we dive into this next part. We are looking at this purely as a cultural phenomenon. We are neutrally reporting on the political content presented in our sources.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We are not endorsing or condemning any viewpoints here. We are just analyzing how politics is impacting casting and the reality TV ecosystem.
Exactly. Because for years, politics was the third rail. You didn't touch it. It was about escapism.
But now, it is tearing casts apart. The Maggie drama on The Real Housewives of Orange County is
Well,
wild.
everywhere. Emily Simpson was recently exposed online because fans dug up Federal Election Commission records showing she donated over $1,500 to Donald Trump in 2020.
Fans routinely mine these databases now to weaponize political donations on social media. It's the new normal.
So instead of owning it, Emily publicly denies being MAGA's. She says her strong values make her, quote, inherently anti-MAGA and called the rumor spreading a very MAGA trait.
She is trying to thread an impossible needle, disavowing a label to appease one side of the audience, while the financial receipts of her support for that exact figure are literally public record.
And her castmates threw her straight to the wolves. Tamra and Heather Dubrow ran to Threads to distance themselves. Tamra posted, "This housewife is not MAGA," and Heather said, "Me either."
They treat the political association like a toxic contagion that will tank their brands.
Which creates a massive headache for the network. How do you film a cast trip when half the women think the other half's voting record is morally reprehensible?
Well, Andy Cohen actually defended the network's casting. A fan asked why there were so many Maggie women on Bravo, and Andy said if they didn't showcase different POVs, there would be no show.
He said Bravo is about relationships, not politics.
From a producer standpoint, ideological diversity is just another engine for conflict.
But Andy's defense infuriated Kelly Dodd. She was fired after season 15, and she just posted this furious video. She claims she was a victim of cancel culture for her conservative values and demanded an apology.
She feels there is a massive double standard in how Bravo enforces casting decisions based on public backlash.
Right. She asked Andy why he didn't support her when she was being canceled, and then she doubled down on everything that got her fired. She called the BLM movement a joke. She slammed Dr. Fauci over his handling of COVID and past statements on the AIDS epidemic.
She claimed conservative housewives are systematically fired, and that a silent majority is tuning out because of the bias.
Reality TV has just become this magnified microcosm of American political polarization. You used to have casts with different views and it didn't matter. Now it's unavoidable.
So can a show meant for light escapism survive this? If half the audience boycotts over an FEC donation and the other half boycotts over Kelly Dodd's firing, where does the franchise go?
It brings up the concept of the expiration date. Newbie Carmela Garcia just told OG Vicky Gunvalson that everyone have an expiration date.
A lethal line to deliver to the woman who built the franchise.
Right, but does the whole genre have an expiration date?
The format might be reaching the end of its life cycle. The promise was voyeuristic glamour. But when we see 20-year-olds in tax debt, domestic violence, bitter divorces, and the exact same political fights we see on Facebook, the escapism is gone.
The format has to evolve or collapse under its own darkness. So let's synthesize this. We started by talking about a facade built on a sinking foundation, and the cracks are everywhere.
The real-world consequences have finally caught up with the television format.
It used to be about showing up late to lunch in the same dress as someone else. Now it's IRS bills, criminal dockets, and ideological warfare. So why should you, the listener, care?
Because these shows act as a funhouse mirror for our society. How we judge Kyle's divorce or Ariana's stolen money says a lot about our own boundaries regarding family, loyalty, and success.
We project our own morals onto them. They act out the extremes so we don't have to. But that leads me to a final, really provocative thought for you to mull over.
The ethical dilemma of watching.
Yes. If we know the off-screen reality is darker and sadder than the edited storylines, are we complicit in consuming their real-life trauma as entertainment?
Every time we watch a marriage crumble or a kid get financially ruined, are we rewarding the environment that destroyed them?
When does our appetite for drama cross the line into witnessing and funding actual human tragedy? Are we just staring at an X-ray of a shattered bone and calling it art?
It's the question of whether the mansion is an escape or just a condemned building we watch collapse for sport.
Exactly. Okay, Snark Squad, I need to know your thoughts. First of all, what food are you currently obsessed with? Are you team soup or team empanada?
And please tell us what completely ridiculous, unhinged thing your pet has done lately. Make us feel better.
Yes, drop it in the comments. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. Keep questioning the reality behind the reality TV you consume.
Keep the margaritas flowing, the gossip coming, and we'll see you on the Snark side.